So, I'm back on, I guess this will be part 3 of I Am Dynamite. Life of Nietzsche. And it's not like I've made any more progress, but you didn't get told about where I was the last time, I think. So, oh dear. Okay, well I know I read to there. And I read there. Okay, so, now, 164. Nietzsche was inspired to initiate Ray's elegant French aphoristic style. 168. Wagner had Dr. Otto Iser look into Nietzsche, who advised a proper clinical exam. He and Dr. Otto Kruger spent 4 days diagnosing Nietzsche. Changes in an interior portion of the eyeball, fundus oculi, which can be syphilitic in origin, very severe damage to both retinas. The severity of the headaches were not caused by stomach cataract, but by a predisposition in the irritability of the central organ. They figured the origin of that was excessive mental activity. He must work less, relax, take quinine, and wear blue spectacles. They discounted a brain tumor. 168. Masturbation was then widely believed to cause severe eye problems. Iser ruled out both syphilis and chronic nephritis. 180. Both Cosima and Elizabeth were intensely bourgeois and intensely religious. Both were equally repelled and wounded by human all too human. Elizabeth started a correspondence with a leading anti-Semite agitator whom she had met in Beirut, named Bernhard Forster. His nationalism and anti-Semitism appealed to her far more than her brother's Europeanism and realism. Oh, that scared me. 200. Lou's strangely remote eyes gave her an exceptional talent for attracting confession. She listened like a mirror, reflecting back the talker's thoughts. Nietzsche found her Russian accent harsh at first. Freud allowed her to psychoanalyze his daughter Anna. Page 202, Nietzsche had a reputation for misogyny that is most well-deserved. The aphorisms on women in the gay science are notably positive and sympathetic. They were subjected precisely by the man they loved and esteemed most to the terror and duty of sex. 203. Lou saw Nietzsche like some god who had come out of the wilderness and down from the high places and put on a suit in order to pass among men. A regular recurrent decline in sickness always demarcated one period of his life from another. Every illness was a death, a dip down into Hades. Every recuperation was a rebirth when the world gleamed anew. It was like the annual fertility cycle of the god being plowed into the ground. Only through this excruciating process could new insights open up to him. 204. Lou's mom warned Nietzsche against her daughter. Lou was uncontrollable and dangerous. She was a wild fantasist. Lou and Nietzsche climbed Mount Sacro together. He described climbing that mountain with her the most exquisite experience of his life. Ray, Nietzsche, and Lou posed for a photo together, which has become permanently associated with the saying that Nietzsche puts in the mouth of an old woman in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, "You go to women, don't forget the whip." And Lou had decorated the whip with lilac blossoms. Now, I'm going to show you that picture. There it is. James liked that one. Showed that one to me right away. And I asked him, well, why was this woman hanging, like, why did the guys who she hung, because she hung around geniuses, and why did they hang around her? What did they see in her? And what did you say?
I don't know. I think she was probably considered good looking or something.
Yeah, he said she was really hot even for today's standards. So that's why he thought they hung around her.
Well, she might have been a think or two. I don't know much about it, but what do you think?
Well, it probably doesn't hurt to be beautiful, but I think she was definitely a thinker.
I hope so.
209. While Nietzsche had given himself over to the hope of having found his alter ego in Lou, She was not willing to be dissolved in Nietzsche. Lou is the daughter of a Russian general, 20 years old. We are friends, and I shall keep this girl in this confidence in me sacrosanct. That's page 210. And 214, Ray and Lou kept a nest book, which is a joint diary. And I've never heard of this before, but what a great thing. She called him Husung, little house, and he called her Schneckli, little snail. Isn't that sweet?
So where's what she called it? Wow, that's a different house is.
Oh, is that how you say that? You?
No, it'd be Husung. That's a weird thing.
Okay.
I mean, more like housing, like it. Looking at it. Weird.
At age 17, in their confirmation portraits, you can easily see that Elizabeth is confident, beautiful, and capable of doing evil. Nietzsche doesn't appear this way. He hides his hands and looks a little scared. There's a photo in the book of Forsterhof in Paraguay, an anti-Semitic colony Elizabeth ruled. Nietzsche blamed his mother and sister for his chain sickness. And there are two photos, one with him with his mother, and she's holding his arm, and like with both of her hands, and another with his sister, and the caption reads, Elizabeth poses lovingly over the brother in her power. And I think I'm seeing these pictures I think the same way as this author is. There's a picture of Hitler at Elizabeth's funeral, and I'll show you these, because it does mention in this book that Nietzsche only was interested in really clever women. Anyway, there's the picture, the confirmation photos. Nietzsche, see, he's holding both of his hands are hidden, and there's his sister, and she's really beautiful, but she looks mean. She looks kind of scary. She's staring right at you. It's not even at the cameraman, it's me. She's looking right at me. It's a frightening kind of thing. You can see it in that picture, how she is. And anyway, and there's the thing in Paraguay. And this is how both the mother, see how she's really, he belongs to her, the way she's holding him. And there's the sister. Anyway, they're very interesting pictures, and I think the author really picked out some good ones. 215, Lou described Nietzsche and Ray as two prophets of the past and of the future. Ray discovers the verdict of the gods, while you destroy the twilight of the gods. 216, Lou was voracious, young, beautiful, aristocratic, vivacious, rich, cosmopolitan, self-confident, and uninhibited. 217, Elizabeth didn't like Lou, and that's an understatement, and felt that she was destroying her own good name as well as her brother's. Her sensational figure was undoubtedly due to false breasts. She couldn't even tolerate that. So, like Lou, Paul von Zukowski was half German, half Russian. They had a lot in common, interested in spiritualism. Lou was convinced that poltergeist followed her through her life and gave her mysterious messages. 221, Lou wrote like a schoolgirl, so Nietzsche wrote up a style guide for her. Style should be lively, know exactly what you want to say before you start writing. Suit your style to the recipient. Long sentences are an affectation. Only people who have long duration of breath are entitled to write in long sentences. It is not good manners or clever to deprive one's reader of the most obvious objections. It's very good manners and very clever to leave it to one's reader alone to pronounce on the ultimate quintessence?
Yeah. You can say it either way.
Of our wisdom. 222. Lou concluded that Nietzsche was the more religious for being godless. It was the pain of this that drove his philosophy. His entire intellectual development derived from his loss of belief and from his emotions. Attending the death of God, the possibility of finding some substitutions for the lost God obsessed him. 223. Lou was indoctrinated by him for 3 weeks straight, and then left him with a poem, Prayer to Life, Gebet an das Leben.
Gebet
Gebet?
an das Leben.
He set it to music and hoped a love from his past, Louise Ott, would sing it for him. Lou had been keeping Ray up to date with installments of the Ness book. Lou's final conclusion regarding Nietzsche's subjective abyss, Christian religious mysticism renamed as Dionysianism, and fundamentally a mask for bodily lust. 224. Chain sickness. Emotional attachment dragging you down on your way to becoming the being who you are. First, one has the difficulty of emancipating oneself from one's chains, and ultimately one has to emancipate oneself from the emancipation. 2. Each of us has to suffer, though in greatly differing ways, from the chain sickness, even after he has broken the chain. 225. Nietzsche wrote an aphorism describing Lou. Woman does not die of love, but wastes away for want of it. The Holy Trinity had turned into a dishonest triangle. That's Ray, Lou, and Nietzsche. Ray continued to fight his addiction to gambling and to edgy encounters with young men in the streets after midnight. Lou was addressed in the salon as Your Excellency. Ray was known as the Maid of Honor, but they abandoned Nietzsche. 226. Nietzsche had inscribed a poem into Lou's gift copy of Human, All Too Human. Darling, quoth Columbus, never trust another Genoese. Across the brine he stares forever, over the distant deep blue seas. His loved ones lures he from afar, through space and time's immensity. Above us star shines next to star, around us roars eternity. 230. Zarathustra, aka Zoroaster, Persian prophet, lived BC 12 to 6th century-ish. The Zend Avesta, Zarathustra's sacred text, tells that the gods worshipped by the very ancient Persians were evil. God of light and good is called Ahura Mazda? Or Muzd?
Or Muslim.
God of darkness and evil, Angra Menya. Many?
I've never
Menu?
run across that menu. I've run across that.
Okay. And his devas, which must be demons.
It'd be related to
Hura.
our word divinity.
Oh,
Gods.
okay. Mazda is not in control until the end of time. So there's no good in control right now. So according to them, don't waste your breath on trying to get something out of the good, because not in control right now. 231. All gods are dead, Zarathustra preaches. Now we want the Superman to live. I teach you the Superman. Human being is something that must be overcome. So there's my part so far of that, and I'll continue on later.